Hello, my name is Cheryl Meyer, otherwise known as Cheryl M. Health Muse, and I am a health coach. I want to welcome you to my podcast, It Feels Good to Feel Good, Future-Proof Your Health. This is a weekly show that will share lifestyle changes that you can make to support your health yourself. Why do I want to share this information with you? 7 years ago, after being a business owner for 20 years, I woke up one morning in horrific pain where every bone and every joint in my body hurt. I went to the doctor. She ran lots of tests, and then she ran some more, and then she ran some more, and finally she called me and announced she was going to give me steroids, but there was absolutely nothing wrong with me and I should seek therapy. I knew something was wrong. I hurt. So she told me I would be on steroids for the rest of my life, and I refused that I was going to have a life of pain and pills. So why was I going to take steroids if there was nothing wrong with me? So I dug in and started researching, and I turned my business over to my staff. I found a functional doctor who confirmed that I had autoimmune disease by making a series of significant lifestyle changes that I could do for myself. 5 years later, I had returned to relative health. The best part is that I am now 70, and I feel better now than I did when I was 50. I no longer hurt, which is huge. I will always have autoimmune disease, but losing the pain has been amazing. I went back to school at 67 and became a health coach because I want to share everything that I learned with others. And I wrote a book called It Feels Good to Feel Good, Learn to Eliminate Toxins, Reduce Inflammation, and Feel Great Again, as the manual I wished that I had had when I got sick, and my book has won 13 awards. So whether you want to future-proof your health and grow old with dignity and grace without dementia and chronic pain and disease, which you don't need to get, or whether or not you already have a chronic condition like autoimmune disease or cancer or heart disease, and you want to learn about what things you can do to improve your long-term health, or whether you want to improve the health of your families and raise healthy children, because 53% of our children have a chronic condition, I look forward to sharing all this information with you. I will tell you, it truly does feel good to feel good, so let's get started. I look forward to having you join me here every week, and I want to give you hope that if you have chronic pain or chronic disease, you can make changes that will improve your health. And if you don't want to go there, you're going to be fine if you listen to the show and put these things into work. I want to give you information so that you can grow old and have a better tomorrow. So thank you for joining me. Let's get started. Hello, welcome to another edition of It Feels Good to Feel Good, Future-Proof Your Health. And this is my second podcast all about the liver. In the first podcast, we talked about how important the liver is to our bodies. And I'm doing 3 podcasts just on the liver because it's that important, and it's my belief that we are not giving the liver enough respect. If we have an unhealthy liver, it impacts every other organ in our body. And it actually ends up, it's the number 1 cause of heart disease. That shocked me. So it's even worse than if you're a smoker. Having a fatty liver creates heart disease. So the first one, we talked about all the different functions that the liver has and what the different diseases are that the liver gets. And in this podcast, we're going to talk about what food you can eat to support your liver. And then the last podcast on the liver is going to talk about supplements, the things that you can take to support your liver, but know that I'm a health coach. So if you're going to take the supplements that I recommend in the third part of this series, I want you to do your own research, and I want you to talk to whoever your medical practitioner is so that you know that there's no interactions with other medications when you start taking those. But for food, you can just do all of these things to support your liver all by yourself. This is a lifestyle change that you can make to support your liver. And remember, we talked about the fact that if you have a fatty liver, you may not even know it. Most people with fatty livers don't know that they have it, and the fatty liver is what causes the heart disease. It interferes with your kidney function. It interferes with your lung function. It interferes with your gallbladder. It interferes with your pancreas and your lower digestive system, and it interferes with your gut. So having a healthy liver and keeping your liver healthy is super important. The liver is responsible for over 500 vital functions, and these include removing waste products that regulate your blood sugar levels and creating essential nutrients. One of the most important things that your liver does is produce cholesterol. Now, a lot of people think cholesterol is not good for you. Ends up, cholesterol is actually really good for you because you need it for brain function and for other functions in your body. What you don't need is little tiny particle cholesterol. They used to call it good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Now they've taken half of that and they've called it big cholesterol and little cholesterol. So if you have little particle cholesterol, those are the things that stick to your arteries and create heart disease. If you have big fluffy cholesterol, then it's good for you. And the things I'm going to share with you about the liver are also useful to creating the big fluffy cholesterol. It also is responsible for your triglycerides. And those have always been something that's been a nemesis of mine because I've had high triglycerides for a long time, and nothing I seem to do has been impacting them. But now eating all these foods and using my supplements, my triglycerides for the first time came tumbling way down. They're not below where they need to be yet, but we're making huge progress, and my cholesterol rates are fabulous. 15% of your cholesterol comes from the food you eat. The focus needs to be on a liver-friendly diet, which is what I'm going to share with you today. And one reason diet can lower cholesterol is because it helps your liver function better. The second point is cholesterol is healthy, and low, even normally low, is not going to produce maximum or optimal health. People with the lowest cholesterol actually suffer from illnesses and heart attacks as well. So eat these healthy foods to support healthy liver function, and then you'll be in much better shape. So, what to include and delete from your diet in order to support a healthy liver? For good detoxing, understand that you need good kidney and good liver function. Those are two of your pathways to detox toxins out of your body. You have your liver, which then sends liquids to your kidneys to get out of your body. That's your first detox pathway. Your second detox pathway is your liver sends things to your colon and it gets removed by, poop. And your third detox pathway is your skin. So those are the only three ways the toxins get out of your body. And all the toxins in your life, whether you're getting them from pesticides or from cleaning things or from all the other places that you're getting toxins in your life, including stress and sugar, all of those go through your liver. So your liver has to optimally function in order to process all these toxins and get them back out of your body. The foods that will drive up your blood sugar will damage your kidneys over time. So one of the things you want to do is detox off the sugar, because sugar is poison, and the majority of the sugar that you're getting in your diet is coming from processed and fast foods. I'm about to run a group with a sugar detox because breaking your addiction to sugar is really critical to have a healthy liver. And when you do break your attraction to sugar and you break that addiction, for the first time you have food freedom and your liver starts to celebrate. So if you're eating a lot of sugar, or for God's sakes, if you're drinking a lot of soda pop whether it's diet or sugar, stop it already. It's really bad for you. Now, I have a friend who said he would rather gnaw his arm off than give up his Diet Coke. I keep talking to him about it because I'm hoping eventually I can influence him to give that up, because it's just not good for your liver. So take care of your liver, and your liver will take care of you. A high sodium diet is something that you want to avoid, because it's harmful to the liver and to the kidneys, as well as stress. And I have a whole podcast on stress, so go back and take a listen to it if that's an issue for you, because I have a series of little exercises that will take the top off that stress so that it never becomes chronic and impacts your liver. The same foods that harm the liver also harm the kidneys, and so by taking care of your liver, you're also taking care of your kidneys, your heart, your lungs, your pancreas, your spleen, your gut, and your intestines. And believe it or not, you're taking care of your brain, because sugar is now known as diabetes type 3, and diabetes type 3 is what creates dementia. And I don't know about you, but as I age, I'd really like to keep my cognizance. So the first thing, I'm just going to point it out right from the beginning, is you want to avoid heavy drinking and drug use. I'm not talking about fatty liver that's alcoholic fatty liver, but you don't want to add that to fatty liver, which is mostly from sugar. So if we detox off the sugar, we have a chance of having a much healthier liver. So a night of heavy drinking means the liver must work overtime to bring the body back to balance. And you want to protect your liver by only consuming alcohol in moderation, which means 1 drink a day maximum for a woman and 2 drinks a day maximum for a man. I don't know why men get to have more than women, but it's a good rule. You shouldn't be drinking that much alcohol anyway. And if you take medications and you're worried about your liver, talk to your doctor for alternative options, such as switching types or lowering your dose. So let's start with what to take, what to eat, and what to do to have a healthy liver. Water. It is recommended by the functional community that you drink 8 to 10 glasses of 8 ounces of water a day. And it shouldn't just be water out of your tap, because that probably has all kinds of toxins in it itself. So get a water report from your water company and put a filter at least on your kitchen sink. They're not terribly expensive. And if you put it just on your kitchen sink, you use that to drink and you use that water to cook, so that you've got all the toxins out of it. Water even has pharmaceuticals in it. It has all kinds of chemicals that went down into our groundwater because of the stuff that they spray on our crops. It's loaded with nasty, so filter them out. We did a filter that was not expensive from a company called Aquasana, and we also bought our stainless steel water bottles from Aquasana, because that way we're not getting the toxins from plastic water bottles, which leach into the water. You're paying 1,200 times more for it if you're drinking it out of plastic, and it lets loose little tiny micro balls of plastic that get into your body and poison you. So put your filtered water into your own containers. It'll amortize itself really quickly, and you're eliminating that level of toxins from having to go through your liver, which is causing it havoc anyway. It's even better to be drinking this water with lemon, because that promotes healthy digestion and optimal functioning of your lymphatic system, which then indirectly supports your liver health. So if you filter it out and you get rid of the plastic that leach all those toxic chemicals, and you're drinking 60 to 80 ounces of water a day, I know that's a lot, but that's going to also flush all those chemicals out of your kidneys with less harm. So it's all good for you. I also have bought 68-ounce jugs to carry more water with me when I'm out and traveling, so I refill my own stainless steel bottles, which are 32 ounces. So all the way around, I'm carrying plenty of water so that I never have to go get plastic. The only time I drink plastic water is if I'm on an airplane, because they won't let me in with water in my stainless bottles. So for that little bit, it's okay, but mostly make sure you eliminate those things. The next thing you want to do for healthy liver function is start eating sour and bitter foods. Bitterness is a sign that beneficial enzymes, which will nourish your liver, are present. Sour foods that are high in essential minerals and balance your fluids will reduce heavy toxic metals in your blood. Examples of bitter greens are mustard greens, chicory, arugula, dandelion. Now, if you're going to pick dandelions from your yard, you can eat them, but you want to really wash them well because they could have all kinds of nasty chemicals on them. And leafy greens like collards and Swiss chard. You want to be eating probiotic foods, which includes things like yogurt, and you want to eat full-fat yogurt because why should you let the dairy take the best part of the yogurt and keep it for themselves? And full-fat yogurt is much better for your body than low-fat or non-fat. That's a deception that they've fed us so that they get to have the most expensive part of the yogurt and the milk. You need to be drinking kombucha, kefir. You need to be eating cultured vegetables that support gut health because it provides heavy, good bacteria and feeds all the good guys that are in your gut. You need to be eating fermented foods, which includes sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, lacto-fermented pickles, kefir, yogurt, and other fermented foods that are loaded with beneficial probiotic bacteria that promote healthy digestion and the integrity of your gut lining. Remember, you don't want leaky gut. We've talked about that. You need all those good gut bacteria so that you are digesting your food completely and you're not creating little leaky holes in your gut lining, which is then what eventually starts to make your immune system go into hyperload and start attacking your body. And it also keeps toxins out of your bloodstream. According to functional medicine expert Frank Lipman, they also will help clear all those heavy toxic metals out of your body. So we'll talk about at the end, I have a detox drink that you can drink so that you can get the heavy toxic metals flushed out and understand if you have heavy toxic metals, your body will try to get rid of them, but when it comes overloaded, what it does, your liver starts sending them away to get stored in your fat and your bones. So you'll get rid of them by drinking this green detox drink, and then a year later they'll start leaching back into your body from your bones and your fat. So you need to be drinking this detox drink every once in a while so that you keep the heavy toxic metals at their lowest possible point. What are simple ways to prevent liver disease from forming and take care of your overworked liver? I call the liver the workhorse of your body because it works really hard to get all the toxins out of your body. And if you'll recall, I have a book all about the toxins in our world because I used that to go into the ewg.org database, look up everything in my life, and trade it out for lower toxic items. And that's how I reversed much of my pain of inflammation and came back to a relatively pain-free life, even though I still have autoimmune disease. So it was the liver that processed all of those toxins while I was using all those toxic products, and they range from everything to what's sprayed on our food to spraying perfumes on us or using using plug-ins to make the house smell good, and even that thing that we spray that takes all the scents out. Those are all toxic. And one of the things I really hate at the moment are those laundry detergent commercials where they're in ecstasy smelling their laundry because they love the smell, where they're giving themselves a healthy dose of toxins every time they breathe that stuff in. So don't do that. You don't need it. And just a comment, one of the things that surprised me the most by detoxing all of those toxins out of my body and trading them out and lowering my toxic load is that I don't have body odor anymore. I used to have a terrible problem with it. I was changing my antiperspirant, my deodorant all the time because my body was just overproducing stuff that was not too ducky. And that's all gone now that I don't have toxins in my body. So if you have a lot of body odor, that's a sign that you're dealing with a lot of toxicity in your life. Eating a healthy diet is key. You have heard me talk about eating the rainbow. Well, it has never been more important than to feed all good things to your liver. You need to eat all the colors of the rainbow because together they form a synergy so that they create health in your body. And when you're eating all of the colors and you're eating them fairly close together, your body has a little party and celebrates that it feels darn good. And your liver is going to be able to function in all those 500 ways at optimal level. Most of this is because it takes enormous energy to digest all those foods and to process all the toxins going into your body every day. So if you're eating a toxin heavy, low nutrient diet, your poor liver is getting the brunt of it. And then the last thing is exercising daily and reducing your toxin exposure by limiting the amount of alcohol, medications, pesticides, herbicides, and hormone disruptors, which are things like the lining on the inside of cans, you consume. That also will help your liver support you much better. So you're going to eat an anti-inflammatory diet, and you're going to choose to eat it organic as much as possible. Remember, the Dirty Dozen Clean 15, that list changes every year. You can find the 2020 list on my website, and if it's on the dirty side, that's where you absolutely must spend your money for organic. If it's on the dirty side or in between, it's your choice. I eat everything organic because the toxins really made me sick. I recommend that you do that too, but a lot of people don't think they can afford it. So if you think you can't afford it, at least if it's on the dirty side of the list that EWG.org puts out every year, make those where you spend your money on organics. A low sugar, low toxin diet that's filled with high fiber foods is crucial to support your liver. And again, by supporting your liver, you're supporting your lungs, your heart, your kidneys, your pancreas, your gallbladder, your lower digestive system, and your gut. So supporting your liver is really an important thing. High amounts of antioxidants and fiber can even start to reverse liver damage and disease, according to numerous studies. Keep things balanced by eating real whole foods, again, preferably organic, including unrefined sources of carbohydrates, vegetables, fruits, and healthy fats. Now remember, the healthy fats are the omega-3s. We get plenty of omega-6s from other sources. So and fats are important. They made fats, they demonized them for a long time. Fats are important, and omega-3s are good for us, and they're good for our brains. So just to remind you what the omega-3s are, they are olive oil, but don't cook with it. It has a low smoke point. Coconut oil, grapeseed oil, avocado oil, those are all healthy oils. Flaxseed oil. What you want to stay away from are all of the vegetable oils, because most of those crops now are genetically modified, which means you're getting Bt toxin or you're getting glyphosate, which is Roundup when you're eating those. So you don't want the corn oil, the safflower oil, the sunflower oil, the corn oil, the soy oil. All of those are genetically modified crops, and your body doesn't need those toxins with them. So, and they're omega-6s. So stick with the omega-3s. And ghee. I left ghee off. I cook mostly with ghee, which is butter without the milk solids, and it tastes like butter, so I get the advantage of the butter, even though I'm dairy sensitive, because my body can handle the ghee. So it makes my cooking one grade higher than when I wasn't using ghee to do my cooking. Focus on quality sources, including cage-free eggs. I prefer chickens that run free, that are pastured eggs, because those chickens are super healthy because they're eating their own species-specific diet, which means they're eating grass, berries, and bugs. And that makes that chicken taste the best, and that makes his eggs taste the best. So if you're buying pastured eggs, you can get them at farmers markets, or we mostly buy Vital Farms because they're all pastured, so they are all giving us healthy fats and healthy protein. Cage-free sometimes is icky because the chickens are all so close together that they have no room to breathe, and they're super poorly treated, and they're all stressed out, and you got plenty of your own stress hormones, so you don't need stress hormones from your chickens. Wild-caught seafood is an excellent source of omega-3 oils. So things like anchovies and wild-caught salmon and mackerel, those are all super healthy for you and give you a nice dose of omega-3 fats. Your liver then can properly break down fats and remove the cholesterol it doesn't need and remove all the toxins that have entered your body through other methods. And remember, we're even getting them from the air we're breathing inside our homes. Our toxins are inside our houses. I live in Los Angeles, and believe it or not, the air inside my house is probably worse than the air outside my house, which is saying a lot. So make sure we run air filters all the time to try to keep our air as fresh as possible. So open up windows, air out your house, run air filters. All those toxins go into your body and have to get processed through your liver. So all of this will help you increase your natural liver detoxification and its ability to flush the toxins out via your urine. The best thing you can do to treat a fatty liver is to maintain a healthy diet. Now, you may not know if you have a fatty liver. There is a test that's generally accurate to tell you if you have a fatty liver. They also do ultrasound to see if you have a fatty liver. Sometimes they detect it and sometimes they don't. I knew something was going wrong because when I slept on my right side, I was getting pain in the middle of the night. And sure enough, I had a nice fatty liver going in my body. And I think I got it from one of two ways. I got Epstein-Barr or mononucleosis in my late 20s, and I actually turned jaundice. So that was the first thing I did that was not good for my liver. The second thing I did that was not good for my liver was I took a lot of Tylenol, which is acetaminophen, because I was allergic to aspirin, and it ends up that's much harder on the liver than they ever knew. So if you can avoid taking any over-the-counter medications, you're better off. I use curcumin, which is the active ingredient from turmeric, and it's a gift that gives gifts. So try using curcumin because it takes care of headaches. It takes care of when I have a fever. It takes care of all the things I used to use over-the-counter medication, and I used to take Tylenol for it. And you don't want those things going through your liver because they're toxic for your liver. And if you're overwhelmed, and then you're also probably malnourished. That one surprised me. I read that if I was overweight, it meant that I was not getting enough nutrients in my body. And so what your body does is it holds on to what you are giving it because it's screaming that it needs all those phytonutrients that you get from eating the rainbow. So if you're malnourished, that increases your ability to process and it makes you fat. And if you're fat, then it adds to fatty liver disease. A healthy diet, it provides all the vitamins and nutrients that your body needs to function. And the number one treatment of fatty liver disease is weight loss, exercise, and a healthy diet of fruits and vegetables, preferably organic. It's essential that you eat a balanced diet and that you exercise, so shoot for doing at least 30 minutes of physical activity a day, even if it's taking a walk. Now, I am not a person who likes to exercise. I am not a person who has ever liked to exercise. There's actually a chapter in my first book, Exercise for People Who Don't Like to Exercise. And what I have decided upon is I bought what I call my mini trampoline, which is a little rebounder. And I film country western music, the top 20 on Sundays, and then that's what I jump to for a half an hour as many times a week as I can get on it. And that's what I do for physical exercise. It's fun. I like it. It gets my heartbeat going. But you don't even have to jump really high in order to make it work. Just by jiggling on it, it's really good for your lymph system. And your lymph system goes around all your cells and picks up the garbage that they put out and then gets them out of your body. So that also helps you detox your body. So you want to eat the rainbow. I recommend that you eat 50% of them raw and 50% of them cooked. If you eat them raw, sometimes vegetables give you more nourishment, and sometimes when you cook them, they release more nourishment. So eat them half and half. We make a dip out of almond sour cream and organic seasonings, and then we dip our vegetables in those, and it's a lovely afternoon treat. and it's replaced all the garbage that we used to eat, the potatoes and the chips and the things that we were eating that are not so good for us. And understand, when you're detoxing off of sugar, what I'm looking for is for you to give up the processed and the fast food. That's what I'm talking about, because there is so much hidden sugar in those things, you will be blown away. There's 12 tablespoons of sugar just in a 12-ounce Diet Coke, or 12-ounce sugar Coke, or in a glass of fruit juice, which is also pretty astonishing. So drink lemon in your water, or put berries in water in a glass jug in your refrigerator and drink that instead of pop. It will serve your body well, and it will give extra loving care to your liver. Foods high in monounsaturated fats like olives, olive oil, avocados, and nuts are really good to boost your liver function. Fatty 3 acids, including wild-caught fish, chia seeds, flax seeds, and walnuts, are really good for your liver. High antioxidant foods that help protect the liver cells from damage, especially items that are rich in vitamin E, which some research shows will improve the state of your fatty liver. And I can share with you, this stuff works because my fatty liver has improved dramatically. I just had a tele appointment with my functional doctor. All of my tests are so much better because of my diet that she was ecstatic. I'm diabetic, and I am now diabetes under control. My sugar has come down 7 points since the last time I saw her 3 months ago. Pretty phenomenal stuff. So you can change all your body functions, and you can change the health of your liver by eating a healthy diet with lots of fruits and vegetables of all the colors. Liver boosting vegetables including artichokes and bitter leafy greens like mustard greens, chicory, arugula, dandelion, and believe it or not, capers. I'm going to talk a lot about capers because they are super good for your liver. Eating a Mediterranean diet is really good for your liver. Eating a ketogenic diet is really good for your liver. The next thing you want to do is load up on potassium-rich foods. The question is, are you really getting 4,700 milligrams a day of potassium? When I was in my 30s, we discovered that my body wasn't holding on to potassium, and so I had a little fluttering heart that sort of felt like when you watch a fish on a dock and it's flopping all over the place. I always knew I had that. I didn't know that it was because my body was robbing itself of its potassium. So I started eating sweet potatoes, bananas, and kiwi so that I could build up my potassium. You shouldn't get your potassium from a pill. You should get your potassium from real food. So don't be thinking you're going to take potassium supplements to do that. Instead, you're going to add a single medium sweet potato, has 700 milligrams of potassium, as well as high fiber and beta carotene. It only has 131 calories, so God knows it's worth it to eat it. And it's rich in vitamins B6, C, D, magnesium, and iron, and it's naturally sweet. So the sugars are actually slowly released into the bloodstream through the liver, and there is no spike in blood sugar. So sweet potatoes are a good way to get your potassium. Tomato sauces are a good way to get your potassium, but a couple of warnings about tomato sauces. You want to make sure it's organic because they're spraying tomatoes a lot, so you don't need all those pesticides and herbicides with your tomato sauce. You want to buy your tomato sauce, if you're not home making it, you want to buy it in glass because the acid of the tomato is pulling the toxic metals out of the cans, and you don't need those in your body. I buy Jovial, and I love them, and so that's where I get my chunky tomatoes that I cook with and my tomato sauces because it's organic and they're in glass, so I'm not getting anything else but just great tomatoes. A cup of tomatoes has 400 milligrams of potassium in it. So when selecting tomato sauce, paste, or puree, make sure you're getting it from organic tomatoes and you're buying it in glass. Next place where you're going to get potassium is in beet greens and spinach. Now, personally, I love spinach, so I add handfuls of spinach into everything I can. A handful goes into my drink in the morning if I'm making one. A handful of spinach goes into my eggs in the morning if I'm making eggs. Beet greens and spinach are rich in antioxidants, and beet greens have 1,300 milligrams of potassium per cup. I've never cooked with beet greens, but I obviously need to start giving them a try. And if you're making fresh vegetable juice, I would encourage you to make that in your Vitamix or blender and not in a juicer, because then you're getting the fiber at the same time, which is much better for your liver and your body. So you're going to chop spinach and beet greens and add them raw into your salads, and you're going to saute them lightly like other greens. Beets also naturally cleanse your gallbladder and improve bile flow. And let's just make a comment. In the last part of this series, I'm going to talk about your gallbladder and bile in a much more deep way. But don't let them take your gallbladder away. Find ways to heal it if it's not functioning properly. Start eating bitters, and that means as you put the bitter into your mouth and you start to chew it, allow yourself to chew it long enough that it stimulates your liver to release the bile and keep your gallbladder healthy, because there are no throwaway parts in your body, not your gallbladder and not your appendix. They have reasons to be there, so don't let someone just go taking that away, because you need that bile in order to process fats in your digestive system. So hold on to it and do natural things to get it healthy. Fresh organic spinach is easy to add and has 840 milligrams per serving of potassium. Beans, white beans, kidney beans, and lima beans are all very rich in potassium, protein, and fiber. So swap out your garbanzo beans when you're making hummus and use things like white beans instead. I make my hummus all out of white northern beans that are, yes, organic, and I make pretty terrific hummus using tahini and white beans that are organic I buy them in boxes, because then I'm not dealing with whether or not they're in a can that's pulling and leaching other things into it. And enjoy the hummus that you make with carrot sticks and celery. You can season it however you want, because it's all yours. Blackstrap molasses is loaded with potassium. Just 2 teaspoons of this rich all-natural syrup contains 10% of your daily recommended amount of potassium. In addition to potassium, it's rich in iron, calcium, manganese, and copper. So incorporate blackstrap molasses into your diet by replacing other natural sweeteners with it. You can use it to create barbecue sauces or to top oatmeal or quinoa porridge in the morning. 2 teaspoons added to coffee will intensify the richness of your cup in the morning, and it lowers the acidic taste of your coffee, so it's a win-win. Bananas. I was eating bananas when I was low on potassium, and they're very good for you, but they contain 470 milligrams of potassium, and it's also great for cleansing the liver and overcoming those low potassium levels. Plantains also have a lot of potassium in them, and plantains also have a lot of fiber. And plantains are a prebiotic, which means that when you eat them, they feed your probiotics in your gut. So your probiotics get hungry and prebiotics feed them. What are other prebiotics? Garlic, onion, leeks, artichokes, asparagus. All of those are prebiotics, so they feed your good gut bacteria, so they're good to add to your diet as well. But for potassium, you want plantains or bananas. And be careful, because if you get your potassium too high, it's not good for your kidneys. So if you are having that issue, then only eat potassium foods in moderation. Radishes. Radishes are super good for both your liver and your gallbladder. We just bought some radishes at the farmer's market that were sweet and delicious. And I also recently saw a recipe for cooking radishes, so I want to try that. The radish aids in stopping the production and eliminating bilirubin from the liver, And it will increase your red blood cell production in the liver, which can be depressed by jaundice. Remember how bad I had jaundice in my 20s? Well, I wish I'd known about black radishes then. Several studies have been done on the effect of different radish types on the liver, and there also have an enzyme in white radish extracts that can prevent hepatotoxicity. It's found that a daikon radish or a white radish is useful to regulate liver and gallbladder functions. Garlic. I have a girlfriend who has a fatty liver, and her doctor has put her on garlic capsules. Garlic is really good for liver function. I prefer to get my garlic raw from real garlic, but either way, it's really good for your liver. And in Jiangsu, China, residents have a low chance of liver disease because they have garlic to thank. Probably comes out of their skin, they eat so much, but hey, they've got healthy livers. I make that comment because years ago when I lived in San Francisco, we used to go to a community kind of round table Italian restaurant. We would order big platters of food and then we would all share it. And there was so much garlic in that food. It was unbelievably delicious, but there was so much garlic in it. It came out of my pores for days and I could smell it on myself. So garlic is really good for you and helps you have a healthy liver, but if you're eating too much of it, you're probably not going to be too much fun to be around. A 2016 study in Advanced Biomedical Research found that garlic powder supplements reduce body fat for those who have fatty liver. It reduces the amount of fat in the liver and prevents the progression of fatty liver disease. It helps your liver to activate enzymes that flush out toxins because of the high levels of natural compounds, allicin and selenium. Now, you can also get selenium by eating 1 Brazil nut a day, and that will give you an adequate amount of selenium. But garlic is loaded with selenium as well, and all of that aids liver cleansing. Allicin has antioxidant, antibiotic, and antifungal qualities, and while selenium increases the action of the antioxidant, it only takes a small amount of garlic to be helpful. For adults, it takes 1 to 2 cloves of raw garlic. So if you're going to maximize the health benefits, crush it at room temperature and let it sit so that it allows the enzyme reaction to come completely out of the garlic. Now, this is also true of broccoli. You want to chop your broccoli up and let it sit for 20 minutes to a half an hour to get the maximum phytonutrients from it. Well, same thing with garlic. You want to cut it up and you want to let it sit for 15 minutes so that you get the maximum benefit from it. If you're using all your garlic in cooking, don't put it into the dish until the very end of the cooking so that you still have those active ingredients that will help your liver. Capers, here we go. A few studies have found that daily caper consumption benefit the liver. I do use capers when I cook. I use them when I cook petroli sole, which we make maybe every 10 days because we really like it. So I make a lemon sauce and I throw capers in and eat the capers with the petroli sole. But since I know they're really good for my fatty liver, I am now eating 1 or 2 capers a day because my liver is happy and I'm happy that my liver is improving so significantly. Pharmaceutical Bulletin reported that eating capers daily for 12 weeks will increase fatty liver disease severity in patients significantly. Eating capers was shown to decrease levels of triglycerides and cholesterol. I've had triglycerides for years, and for the first time, my triglyceride level is starting to fall. And triglycerides, by the way, don't come from fat, they come from sugar. But I detoxed off sugar 3 years ago, so there's absolutely no reason that my triglycerides have been that high, except that I seem to produce a lot of it. So eating the capers and stopping the sugar has brought my triglycerides close to range, and it also has lowered my cholesterol. And I'm losing weight without dieting. I have now lost 60 pounds by detoxing off the sugar and eating all real fruits and vegetables, and then meat that eats his own species-specific diet. I don't think about it. I don't cook special for it. I'm just eating real food and a real diet, and my body is in balance and it's starting to drop more weight. Now, I lost 40 pounds and then I stopped, but since Thanksgiving, I've lost another 20 pounds. So my body has caught up with everything I did and it's ready to release the next amount. It will also, they will improve your ALT and your AST, your ALT and your AST. If you are looking at your liver results from your doctor, that's what they are. So you can improve those by eating capers. Research shows that the caper fruit pickle consumption slows fatty liver progression. This little addition to your diet has huge benefits. And since you only add a small amount to the dish, the sodium content is not important. Eating capers is a good way also to bump up your fiber intake without significantly increasing your calorie consumption. I don't count calories, I just eat real food, but they only have 6.5 calories in them each. So you're certainly not adding a lot of calories by adding capers. But they are adding a lot of fiber, which slows the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream and evens out your blood sugar levels, making them stable in the long term and promoting glycemic control. Not only that, but research has shown that certain components of capers may have anti-diabetic properties as well. And remember, I told you my A1C just dropped 7 points and I am now diabetes under control. I can't begin to tell you how thrilled my doctor is. And I'm thrilled because I don't like the things that happen when you're diabetic. I don't want to be losing any fingers or any toes. So I'm happy that I'm finally getting my blood sugar levels under control. So we want to be eating the fiber that we're getting from the capers, and we want to be keeping our blood sugar levels even, and that's all good for fatty liver. Some research has shown that caper fruit extract was also effective in lowering blood sugar in people with diabetes. While research is needed on how capers can affect blood sugar in the amounts found in food, there is promising research demonstrating that capers are a beneficial addition to a diabetic diet plan. So they're beneficial for your liver and they're beneficial if you're diabetic to keep your blood sugar even. Capers also support blood clotting. What an amazing little guy it is. It's a good source of vitamin K, which is good for your bones. And about 9% of the daily recommended intake is packed into a single ounce. Vitamin K is essential for several aspects of health. It's especially important in terms of blood clotting, and in fact, it's necessary for the function of several proteins in the process of coagulation, which is vital to prevent excess bleeding, to promote healing and recovery. It relieves inflammation. Now, I am autoimmune, so I deal with inflammation, and if the capers are going to help me keep my inflammation down, hey, I'm thrilled. And remember, leaky gut causes inflammation. Inflammation then causes chronic disease, and that's your autoimmune disease, your cancer, and your heart disease. So you want to keep your inflammation down as much as possible. So you don't want to be contributing to the development of cancer, heart disease, and diabetes. Diabetes is an autoimmune disease. One animal model found that caper fruit extract reduced swelling in mice thanks to its anti-inflammatory properties. Another recent 2018 in vitro study noted that caper berries are high in several key antioxidants, including quercetin. Now, I've talked about quercetin because that's what I use for hay fever, and it works better than any pharmaceutical ever worked for me, and I've had hay fever issues for a long time. I also used to get random rashes, and I don't anymore because I take a quercetin every morning and a quercetin every night, and so all of that is gone. And quercetin's another supplement that is a gift that gives positive things. Quercetin is good for your gut, it's good for your brain, it's good for your liver, it's good for your kidneys, and it's good for your lungs. So adding a quercetin supplement, run it past your doctor. I'm not a doctor, but adding a quercetin supplement might just be what you need to help yourself and help your fatty liver disease. Antioxidants can help fight free radicals to protect cells from oxidative damage, which reduces inflammation and aids in prevention of chronic disease. It's oxidative damage, by the way, that contributes to cancer, so that's a good thing. Some research has found that caper consumption can bring huge benefits to liver health. According to a study by the Advanced Pharmaceutical Bulletin, eating capers for 12 weeks will decrease disease severity in patients with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So eating patients is linked to decreased triglycerides and cholesterol and increased weight loss, all of which are good things. Okay, the next category I have not done, but I'm going to tell you about it because a lot of functional people believe in this, and that is to have coffee enemas. Coffee enemas help with constipation, reduce fatigue, and aid in liver detoxification. There's a whole protocol that you should be doing coffee enemas on a fairly regular basis because they are really healthy for your liver and your body. I just haven't gone there yet. But I also am regular as heck because I take magnesium every day. I take one in the morning and one at night, and that keeps me processing my food properly. And in the last podcast that I did, which was with a naturopath, he talked about the fact that we should be pooping after every meal. So ideally, we should be doing that 3 times a day. And I'm not that good. I go 2 times a day, but he thought that was really rather terrific. So take a look at how well you're going. I've had women call me to coach them who haven't gone for a week. I can't begin to tell you how healthy that is, and those are people that I would really encourage to try the coffee enema. A coffee enema targets the lower portion of your large intestine and can be done at home, unlike colonics, which include the entire bowel and are performed outside the home by a professional. During the enema, organic coffee is retained in your bowel, allowing fluid to enter the liver through the intestinal wall. This has a stimulating effect that increases your bile flow, helping to jumpstart both your gallbladder and your liver. So if you're having any issues with your gallbladder, this would be an excellent protocol to adopt. This sparks the production of the chemical glutathione, which is super good for your liver, and it's a strong cleansing compound that helps release the buildup of toxins that have been building up in your liver. Flushing the toxins out during a liver cleanse is critical so that they don't build up and they get moved out of your system. So what you do is you combine 2 tablespoons of organic ground coffee with 3 cups of filtered water. There's where your water system in the kitchen comes in handy. Or distilled water. In a pot, you bring it to a boil, you simmer it gently for 15 minutes, and then you allow it to cool, and you strain it through cheesecloth, and then that's what you use in your enema kit. So you try to retain the mixture for 10 to 15 minutes in your body, and then you release it. Drinking vegetable juice. Now, again, I'd prefer that you make your vegetable juices in a strong blender. I own a Vitamix. There's also Blendtex. They both will pulverize the vegetables, but you still get the fiber, which is better than if you're using a juicer. And that also helps you make your liver cleanse effective. By juicing a variety of raw vegetables, you can easily get the 4 to 5 servings of fresh organic vegetables that you need, and even vegetables that you aren't crazy about get disguised if you're putting them through your Vitamix or your Blendtex. So enjoy your fresh vegetable juice. With impaired liver function, juicing vegetables has an added benefit of making vegetables easier to digest and more readily available for absorption. Vegetables ideal for liver cleanses include cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and while that combination may not sound very enjoyable, then you start adding things that add great taste, like carrots, cucumbers, and beets, and then all of your greens. And what you want to concentrate on while you're eating plant food is the cruciferous vegetables, because they're really good for your body and they are really good for your liver. So all these vegetables will help reduce acid levels in the body and create a friendly pH balance, and you want to experiment with your favorite flavor combinations and then add fresh herbs. I have a whole blog post on my website, Cheryl M. Health Muse, talking about adding complexity by using all of the herbs and spices. And so start adding them into your cooking because they're really quite delicious and they will make you a better cook, and you will be known for making more tasteful dishes by adding all the spices and the herbs. We grow some of our own, some of them don't grow so well, and believe it or not, I have 18 food sensitivities and a lot of them are herbs. So things that I love to death, I can't always use, but I'm about to do another sensitivity test to see if I can introduce them back to my diet. I can't have mint and sage and basil, 3 of my all-time favorites, and mustard, because I was super sensitive to them all, and by eliminating my sensitivities, I took a giant step forward to get rid of my pain of autoimmune disease. So if you're not sensitive to spices and to herbs, start using them when you're cooking because they add a whole new level of complexity to your cooking. I do use a lot of parsley. I'm not a person who is terribly fond of cilantro. I only like it in small amounts. And believe it or not, that's a genetic thing that I inherited. Some people love cilantro and some people don't. And I'm one of the ones that don't. But I love parsley so much, I will sit and just eat it. And I'll steal it off of everybody's plate in a restaurant. So I make up for what not wanting to eat in cilantro for eating parsley, which is also super good for me. To improve your liver health, try kid-friendly orange carrot ginger juice. Fresh organic carrots are essential to a liver cleanse, and for the liver, the beta-carotene is converted to vitamin A, which flushes out toxins while reducing fat in your liver. And then all your leafy vegetables. If you can eat eat as many leafy greens as you can. Eat them organic if possible, but all those leafy greens, bitters as well as no unbitters, they're really good for you. And I don't know if you've eaten arugula. We actually found arugula that was flowering at the farmer's market last Saturday, and they're yummy. We're eating the flowers right in our salads. I like that bitter taste, and the fact that I now know that it's really good for my liver and my gallbladder just adds another whole level of appreciation for arugula. Leafy greens come packed with anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, and they also increase your levels of glutathione, which is really good for your liver and a vital component in the destruction of free radicals running around in your body. Here's the cruciferous vegetables and grasses. Green grasses like chlorella, barley, and wheatgrass are super good for your liver. So if you are buying juices at one of those juice machine places in a mall, make sure that you add the wheatgrass and the chlorella because that's all super good for your body. And chlorophyll has a structure that's built into plant cells that escorts damaging substances like dioxin right out of the liver. It grabs them by the hand and takes them south. So by increasing antioxidants like the superoxide dismutase, they're good for you. And cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, kale, cage, cauliflower, they're all really good for you, and they improve low potassium levels and contain indole compounds, a byproduct that's known to help fight cancer and eliminate carcinogens from the body. Cruciferous vegetables also increase production of digestive enzymes. And one thing you might want to consider doing is taking some digestive enzymes. Run it past your doctor, but digestive enzymes will also help your gut and your fatty liver. And they detoxify the liver and increase the liver's ability to usher out carcinogens and heavy toxic metals from the blood. I know chlorella is especially great for grabbing heavy toxic metals and getting it out of your body, so that's a good thing. Broccoli sprouts are really good for your liver. And cabbage, Brussels sprouts, and watercress. Now, I have never been a Brussels sprouts fan, but the way I do like Brussels sprouts is I make a slaw out of them. I cut them like I cut cabbage. Like I make purple cabbage slaw a lot because that's a way that I get the color purple into my diet. But I cut them thin and then I toss them with some red wine vinegar, a little bit of soy-free Follow Your Heart mayo, and some organic Applegate bacon. And I add carrots to it because that adds another level of complexity. And then I add some powdered organic garlic and some powdered organic onion, and that makes a really yummy salad. So that's how I get all the goodness of the Brussels sprouts in my body. My husband loves it if I just cook them and steam them, and then he eats them as the whole little ball. That's never been my thing. You want to get them into your body because they have enzymes that pick up pollutants from the bloodstream and flush them out through your urine. And so they found that broccoli consumption and Brussels sprout consumption slows the progression of fatty liver disease in mice. So it's also good for you. Herbs that are good for you: turmeric, coriander, parsley, cilantro, oregano are all great because they boost your glutathione production and they lower inflammation. For example, turmeric is curcumin. That's what I now use for pain. And it's helpful in restoring healthy blood pressure, improving circulation, and fighting toxin buildup. There are antioxidant fruits like berries and melons that balance your electrolyte minerals needed by the liver and give you magnesium, calcium, and potassium. And remember, we're all very low in magnesium, so next time you go to the doctor, have them check your magnesium levels, because we're not growing our full food in the same kind of soil that our grandparents did, so we're not getting enough magnesium. I take a magnesium every morning and every night, and magnesium is responsible for 525 enzyme reactions too. So you want to make sure that you're getting the magnesium, and you also can get them somewhat from antioxidant fruits. And then they're beneficial for improving circulation because they act similar to hemoglobin. Local raw honey. We buy our honey, and we buy it at the farmer's market, and we buy it unprocessed. So it doesn't look like the honey you buy at the grocery store, which is, I hate to break this to you, not all real honey. They're adding fructose to it, which is why it's syrupy. Buy real honey, buy it from the bee guy at your farmer's market, and buy it from bees that were collecting all the pollen from local flowers, because then that's going to boost your immune system so that you don't get all of the nasal sensitivities and hay fever that you may have been struggling with your whole life like I have. So by eating local raw honey, that's another great way to lower your sensitivity to things. Local raw honey is a natural antibacterial, antimicrobial, antifungal product. And I just was sent some samples of something called vitamin honey, which a brother of his brother who had a problem with Crohn's disease now gets his vitamins from. So he has added vitamins to raw honey so that his brother can tolerate getting the vitamins that he needs to be healthy. So he went to college and took all nutrition classes so that he could be knowledgeable to help his brother who struggled with Crohn's disease his whole life. So it's, they come in little tubes, and they're called vitamin honey, and the brand is Bizi, B-I-Z-I. So that's another great way to get raw honey into your body, and it has the added bonus of vitamin C or B vitamins or D, because it's a new way to deliver those vitamins to your body. Local raw honey lowers liver inflammation, eliminates bacteria, kills parasites and viral infections, and it really only works if you source it locally or you buy it from somebody who's doing something like Bizi, which has got another benefit for you. Coconut oil is considered one of the best sources of medium chain fatty acids, which you may have seen the term are MCFAs. Coconut oil contains healthy fats, including lauric acid. And acids found in MCFA have antifungal, antimicrobial, antiviral properties, which help your liver detox. It's also an omega-3 oil, so that's another plus. And have you seen apple cider vinegar at the grocery store that has the mother in it? I use Bragg's because that's fermented vinegar, and it's made by combining apple juice with live bacteria in the form of yeast, which gives it beneficial enzymes and antioxidants, and has malic acid in it, which helps establish a healthy ratio of acid to alkalinity. And you want to have an alkaline body. An alkaline body is an unhealthy soil for cancer to grow in, so that's a big plus. Next, add in specific liver-friendly foods. So we've talked about what most of them are, but these are 13 more. Almonds, artichokes, berries. Berries are very low in sugar and super good for you. So we eat berries when we have company. We serve them for dessert, and we eat berries on our pancakes. We eat berries on our cereal. We add berries to as many things as we can. And when they're not in season, we buy organic berries and we keep them in the freezer. So we always have organic berries around. And if I'm craving sugar for any reason, if I eat berries, it takes care of it. Beets, ruby-hued roots, carry pigments called betalains, which help promote normal anti-inflammatory processes and support cellular repair in the liver because of their potent antioxidants. Citrus fruits, there's something in grapefruit that's really good for your liver. But if you're on high blood pressure medication, you might not be able to take them. So that's a place, if you're going to eat grapefruit, talk to your doctor to see if it's going to react poorly with any medications that you're on. Lemon, tangerines, and oranges don't have that issue, but they have a compound called D-limonene, limonene, L-I-M-O-N-E-N-E, which has been shown to slow oxidative damage to the liver as a result of a high-fat diet. Sipping on lemon water. I have 2 prolific lemon trees, so I drink lemon water as long as I have lemons. And I have Meyer lemons, which I'll laugh because it's my last name, but they are super juicy and super sweet. They're the best lemons in the world. And they also get toxins out of my body. Any glutathione boosting food, we've talked about a lot of them, but it grabs toxins and escorts them out of the body through your urine, and that's spinach, avocado, and asparagus, and also things that produce glutamine, glycine, and cysteine. If your doctor or your naturopath has asked you to take NAC, that's all because that builds glutathione in your body, and they're the building blocks for glutathione. And there's also bone broth, whey protein, and sulfur-containing foods such as broccoli and garlic. Green tea is really good for your liver. So if you're going to drink tea, green tea is an excellent tea to drink because it has powerful compounds in it that are antioxidants, combating free radicals, and reducing liver inflammation and lowering the effects of oxidative stress on your digestive system. Then all the dark leafy vegetables and the bitters are really good for you. Lentils are really good for you. Wild caught fish, including wild salmon. Now, what is wild salmon? It is not Atlantic salmon. It is not Northern Atlantic salmon or Scottish salmon. Those are farmed, which means they got all kinds of icky stuff that's going into the fish. So you don't want to be eating those. You want to buy Alaskan or Pacific Northwest wild salmon. It's a little more expensive, so don't eat as big a portion so that it's the same price and get all the wonderful benefits that come from eating wild-caught salmon. Liver from grass-fed, grass-finished beef is also really good for your liver, and liver from pastured chickens is really good for your liver. It's rich in A, B, folic acid, choline, iron, copper, zinc, chromium, and CQ10. It's one of the most nutrient-dense foods that you can eat, and so you can take liver supplements if you don't want to eat animal liver, but it'll guarantee, if you're taking the liver supplements, there's no hormones, pesticides, or antibiotics that were used in feeding and care of the cattle. There's actually an autoimmune protocol called the Walls Protocol, where she strongly suggests that you eat organ meat from grass-fed, grass-finished beef. So it's really good for you, so if you can tolerate it. Now, I don't like liver. Was my first husband's favorite food to eat, and it's the gift that talks back to me for the rest of the week. So I don't eat liver, but I do take liver enzyme pills. Here it talks about digestive enzymes, which I've already mentioned, and you want to reduce stress, and you want to practice forgiveness, and you want to let go of anger. Believe it or not, anger, and when you're ticked off at somebody and you're not practicing forgiveness, that all gets stored in the liver. And several of the liver doctors that I have studied with talk about how anger is stored in the liver. So you need to get rid of that if you want to heal your liver. And then take a look at my stress test and use all those little exercises. Use the belly button wand, use the Dr. Andrew Weil 478 breathing exercise, and do the other little 3-minute exercises to reduce your chronic stress. A damaged liver is said to block healthy emotional flow and produces frustration and causes anger. So these have physical implications. Poor liver function has been connected to physical and psychological symptoms, including brain fog, rib pain, fullness, dizziness, headaches, cramping, joint and tendon problems, menstrual problems, blurry vision. Blurry vision also comes from inflammation, by the way. And digestive disorders. It creates a vicious cycle because the more stress you're under, the more dysfunction your liver has. And your liver, by the way, is also close related to functions of your uterus, so the liver impacts every other organ in your body. Stress impacts every other organ in your body. Sugar, if you haven't detoxed off of it, is causing disease in every other organ in your body, so they're all connected, which is one reason the liver is so freaking important. And then exercise will reduce damage to your liver. And the last thing on my list is to start practicing self-care. Someone on Facebook today posted a wonderful post about how creating boundaries is important for both you and the person in your life who might think that you're being selfish by creating the boundary, but what you're actually doing is taking care of yourself so that you can support them in taking care of themselves, and it's actually a gift of love to both of you. So make sure that you are practicing self-care, however that looks. Get out into nature and walk. Take an Epsom salt bath with lavender oil and argan oil at night before you go to bed. Have an animal that you love dearly and just sit and give them love for a while, or read a book, or relax and watch the Hallmark Channel. Whatever self-care looks like for you, remember that if you're not filling up your own cup and creating your own healthy self-care system, you're not going to have anything in your cup to give to others. So practice self-care on the regular, because that's also really good for your liver. Quite simply, anything that brings you joy is a form of self-care, so you want to make sure you practice it. And then the last thing on my list is posture. You need to make sure, whether you're sitting at your desk or standing, that you have good posture, because all your organs hang off your spine. And if you're not practicing good posture, then you are impacting your liver and your spleen and all your other organs, because they can't hang properly in your body. Get checked for sleep apnea. And if you have restless leg syndrome, that's directly connected to an unhealthy liver, so understand that. And then the last thing I want to give you is the recipe that we used for a green detox to get rid of heavy toxic metals. And that is 1 cup of filtered water, 2 bunches of spinach, a bunch of kale, a bunch of parsley or cilantro, 1 cucumber, 1 whole lemon, 1 whole orange, and I threw it in peel and all, but I washed it all really well. And then a 1-inch piece of ginger, and it goes into the blender, not into the juicer, and then that's what you drink, and that grabs all the heavy toxic metals and flushes them out so they can't create havoc in your body. So those are all of the things that you can eat that will support your liver. I'll be back soon for liver podcast number 3, where we're going to talk about all the supplements that are very supportive of your liver, but those you're going to run past your doctor to make sure there's no complications with medications before you go to use them. But please take a listen to the first liver podcast that I did, and then pay attention to this, because having a healthy liver will make all the difference in the world in terms of growing old with vigor and healthy and with your cognizance, so that you live a long and vibrant life. That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for hanging in here with me. We've gone 10 minutes over in the podcast, but I think the amount of information that I shared will bring you greater and more vibrant health, and so it's worth it. See you soon with the last podcast on the liver. Take care. Bye-bye.